Welcome to the Heal and Restore podcast with your host, me, Randy, and of course, the ever beautiful hostess with the mostest, and my beautiful wife of, if you can believe it, 42 years, right? It's a long time.
Yep, here we are.
Oh, we are dedicated to helping couples and individuals strengthen their relationships through healing, growth, and honest conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
Honest conversation. That's one of the hardest things that we have to learn to do, is be honest, because oftentimes in our past life, growing up as kids, teenagers, young adults, we learned that being honest wasn't the best thing that we could do.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
we
true.
actually met with negative reaction.
Yeah.
So it's learning how to have those honest conversations. We dive deep into topics like communication.
There you are.
Forgiveness. Yeah, that word is very important. That's a process. Intimacy, and we're talking about the emotional intimacy, right? That's what true intimacy is.
Right.
The intimacy in the bedroom comes from building that strong emotional intimacy.
Right.
Family and emotional connection, because healthy love starts with a healed heart.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, it's good.
So tune in each week and take the next step towards restoring what matters most. Relationship.
Yeah, that's good.
So today's episode touches on something many families will face sooner or later. Now, before I tell you what it is, I'm going to tell you what it is. Now I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
Okay.
When roles shift with aging parents, how do we walk this delicate journey with grace and compassion? So what I'm going to say is this is going to be focused more on Kathy, because I never had the opportunity to do this. My dad died when I was 12. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you didn't have much of a relationship with your mom.
My mom was just pretty much.
No, you didn't have a relationship.
Didn't have a relationship with my mom.
It's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, so I was unable to walk through this, especially with my dad.
Yeah.
So I'm more along on this ride as Kathy's support, but most of this is going to be. And I watched her walk with her dad and her mom, actually, both of them. I was there for her through this journey.
Yeah.
So,
no, absolutely. And, before I even dive into this, I'm just going to say putting this podcast together was very emotional for me, because it did bring up where I was. And honestly, I have a very good friend who I'm sure will be listening that is walking through this now. And so this is where my heart kind of led me to. So not only am I doing this for others and for my friend, but I realize that there's still healing going on within me.
Oh, yeah.
As a result of this. So
grief and mourning have no timeline.
No,
whatsoever.
Not at all. So the title, again, as Randy mentioned, is When Roles Shift with Aging Parents. How do we walk through this with this delicate journey with grace and compassion? So I'm going to set the stage. So when we are kids, when we're children growing up, we're looking to our parents always with guidance. We're looking for strength, and we're looking for support. But then there often comes a time where when the season comes where the roles shift, and we have to learn to shift and begin to shift with that. So it may start subtly. It could be helping with doctor's appointments, managing finances, or driving them to the store.
Which you all did.
Yeah. Or other times it may happen suddenly. There could be an accident, there can be an illness, there can be a diagnosis that just turns life upside down. So when that happens, that shift can feel really, really heavy. And so there's grief, there's frustration, and then there's sometimes guilt. Yet there's also an opportunity to honor, to give back, and to deepen love. So for me, I'll just talk briefly about my mom. My mom's was more sudden. It was a sudden experience. She had her first heart attack, and things shifted, and realized, this is a new beginning for her, and a new beginning for me, and for my brother and my sister. And I did.
And your dad.
And my dad. Yeah, absolutely. My dad at that time. And because they had been married, this was the only marriage they ever had, and this was the only set of parents I ever had. So I do remember helping with doctor's appointments, taking her to the doctors. And, I had some really good experience with you with all your medical things. So I wasn't afraid of diving into that role. I felt very confident in that. But when it's your parent, it is a little different, because you know that there's
Mortality. You're looking at the
mortality that
mortality.
comes. Yeah, yeah. So for me, at the beginning, I kind of picked up my bootstraps and did what I had to
Mm-hmm.
do. And then when my dad was diagnosed with
But
dementia,
your mom, eventually you walked with her, and then eventually she had that major
yes,
heart attack, and that was. I'll talk about that a little bit more because I was with your dad,
yeah,
and I had to walk through some stuff with him that was really hard. What that looked like is Kathy's mom was on life support, and the doctor said if she pulls out, she'll basically be a vegetable for the rest of her life.
yeah,
And so it was up to the family, basically up to her dad. What do I do? And I can remember walking outside with him, and he was just distraught.
yeah,
Just Randy, I don't know what to do. Dad, I can't make the decision for you, but the doctors have given you some options. You and Kathy and Don, you guys need to make a hard choice, whatever that is. Nobody's going to blame you for it, but mom's in a bad spot. She's not going to pull through this, and we're just going to be there to support you. And I had to support Kathy through all this as well. Having to sit there with her dad and talk to him about this was tough to see how distraught he was and that decision that he had. And I pray to God that nobody has to make that decision because it is brutal.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah, it was
hard to watch, hard to see, and hard to experience.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, with my mom, that was the first experience of a stage shift, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And then when my dad was diagnosed, it was a slow process. He was diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's, and we started noticing things with him early on. But of course, my mom had been gone for many years. At that point, she'd been gone like 20 years when my dad was diagnosed. So he had 20 years without my mom.
I think it's important to let everybody know that your mom and dad were tied at the hip.
Yeah,
they were kind of like us. They did everything together.
Yeah, they really did.
They were. It was like when mom died, dad really struggled to live.
But he lived for 20 more years alone. Yeah. So that's kind of where I started out, first losing my mom and then 20 years later having my dad be diagnosed with dementia. And boy, was that a whole new thing. And we're gonna jump into some of that. So what do you got next here?
Let's talk about naming the challenges because it's important on this journey.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of those challenges, right? One of them is the emotional weight that the caregivers are going to be carrying. Watching our parents decline, it really does remind us of their mortality and our own mortality, depending on where we are in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It can stir fear, sadness, and even one of the stages of grief is denial.
Yeah,
right.
No, that's
so
true.
It's like this can't be happening. A lot of some parents are like way healthy, and others are. It's just like there's a lot that we have to wrap around when we're losing. Like this.
Absolutely.
And we're watching the decline from a once strong, supportive parent that could, carry the world on the back.
Yeah,
that's what we.
Our superheroes,
our
when
superheroes,
we're kids,
right? And all of a sudden, they're declining really quick. So that's a lot of emotional.
Yeah.
Then you have the family dynamics.
That's always
old
hard.
Sibling rivalries or unresolved family issues may resurface when decisions need to be made. This is a critical time. And one of the things, we've dealt with a couple people walking through this in the last year. And one of the things that happens quite often, it might be an estranged sibling that hasn't been around for many, many years. Why? We don't know. It could be a number. All of a sudden, they show up and they want to start taking control of everything. Well, then the attitude comes in, where were you for the last 2 years when we've been walking through this with mom or dad? So we have to be very careful in the family dynamics, right? We have to remember that if you're an estranged member of the family, right, you can't just walk in and take control. I just want to say that right out loud. Like with Kathy's family, they were all bonded together. For the most part, I stayed out of a lot of the stuff. I talked to Kathy behind the scene, and every once in a while, I would just inject some really kind, loving words. But they had ultimately, because they were such a loving family, they were able to figure this all out between the three of them. So that really helped a lot, and that's the best way to do it. We're going to walk in with a declining parent, and we're carrying this negative energy. It's not going to help our declining parent.
No, and then you have some families where there are no other siblings. There's just one
Right.
sibling left,
Right.
and then that person, that individual, takes on all of it. Talking about role confusion, which you have right here,
Right.
that's the other area.
You feel caught between honoring their independence and stepping in for their safety,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the declining sibling. And then there's the burnout risk.
Mm.
Caregiving is not shared.
If it's not shared,
If
will be a
it's not
burnout
shared,
for
I'm sorry.
sure.
If it's not shared, it's going to be a big burnout. It can drain us emotionally, physically, and spiritually. What I will say in this whole thing, right? All of Kathy's brother, her sister and brother, Kathy kind of took the helm physically, making sure Dad got to the appointments, did all that. But after conversing with both her sister and her brother,
Mm-hmm.
her sister was out of town, but she was very communicative with Kathy,
Yeah.
and her brother would come over and get Dad and take him out to lunch once or twice a week.
Yeah.
If I remember right,
Yeah.
right?
So I think what I'd like to add to that is that was one of the things that I think we did pretty well.
You did really well.
We talked, we talk about role confusion. I think early on we set what our roles were going to be. You're right. I was the one that took Dad to his doctor's appointments, and I, made arrangements to get him out of the house to come to our house for dinner. Right. We have some stories on that.
Napkins, and we thought it was a taco.
Yeah. And then my sister, who was on the East Coast living, she took the role of handling all the bills. She paid all the bills and monitored his bank account. My brother was that support guy. He was the one that checked in on Dad, took him out. He even would take him out on his, my brother is, he does pools. He cleaned pools, pool maintenance, things like that. He would go pick Dad up usually once a week and take him on his pool routes with him. Right. So he got Dad out of the house. He would take him for lunch, things of that nature. So I think that's one thing that's important, especially if there are siblings, is to make sure that you discuss what those roles will be when you're at the beginning stages of your parents starting to slow down.
And, I do have one regret in my family. And I'm like, I just discuss it real briefly right here. My grandmother, my dad's mother, when my dad died, I was 12 years old, he was 32. His mom and dad, my grandmother and grandfather, never abandoned me. Mm-hmm. They were the light of my life. And my grandmother was my rock. She's the patriarch of the family. And when my grandmother, in the last year she was dying, the one regret I had, and I made my amends to her sitting at her gravesite, but was that I never went up to see her. And I did talk to my aunt about this. Mm-hmm. And she said, man, you don't need to come see her because she's not the grandma you used to know. Right? Mm-hmm. But still, even with that affirmation from my aunt, it's a regret I had. I should have gone up and at least in the early stages and been there for her. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were 2 hours away from us, 3 hours away from us, but I could have made that drive once or twice a month.
Yeah, no,
so
that was a learned experience.
That was a very much learned experience for me.
Yeah, that's good. So, one thing that's really important is that it's imperative that we anchor in grace and compassion because, it's just, we have to be able to anchor in grace and compassion. And so how do we navigate those moments? Well, I mean, that's where it's key. So the first thing I'm thinking of is that we have to have grace for ourselves, our individual self. You won't get it perfect. That's okay. You've not experienced this. You've not walked through this. Some days you might lose your patience. So extend to yourself that kindness and the grace.
And this is what I'm going to say. If you are married or in a deep relationship, committed relations, as their partner, as their spouse, your main job is not to fight with your partner or your spouse. Your main job is to support her through all of her needs. Emotional, physical, whatever it is. If she just needs to cry on your shoulder and beat your chest because she's frustrated, then that's what she's got to do. Let her do it. Don't deny her those feelings and emotions. You have to be there to support her.
Having a strong support, whether it's a spouse or in a relationship, is going to be key for that.
And I'll say this is that in my eyes, and because I was still in my active addiction,
with my mom,
with your mom, especially with your mom, I don't feel that I probably was my best, but Kathy will tell me, no, I did fine. Right.
Yeah, we navigated
We
through that the
navigated
best
really
way we
well,
knew how
right?
at that. Yeah,
Because below my addictions and all that, I have a great heart, and I've always had a great heart.
absolutely.
And it comes out in those moments
Yeah.
with Kathy.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that we have to be able to anchor is grace for our parents. They may resist
Yes.
help. They might feel embarrassed because of some of
Right.
the things that they're doing or saying. They might even lash out. But remember, they're grieving losses too. They're grieving their independence. But I want to talk about lashing out. I had a situation, and I find this just funny. I set up to have my dad, who was now living in a home where he had caretakers 24/7. And I had set up to have him go to an adult daycare, I guess is the best way to call it. It was something that was set up where the sun bus came and picked him up one day a week, took him into the daycare facility. And I had gone and checked it out and spent a couple hours with him there before. And he was just not happy. Now, I will tell you that unless my mom made the plans, my dad didn't make plans.
Right.
Your mom was the planner. So here I am in the role of mom and making these plans to get him to this daycare. And he did not like it. And he was upset, and he called me excuse my language, he called me a bitch. And I remember looking at him, and I thought to myself, Dad, that is not nice. And his reaction was, well, you are. And so those are the episodes and the situations that may happen. They may lash out like that. And my dad did.
Or you have to extend grace.
And that's where I had to extend grace. And I just kind of shook my head, and I had to giggle inside because I thought, oh, that is not my dad speaking, but it was kind of funny.
So I want to mention something on compassion.
Well, let me just get into compassion because I haven't gotten to that one yet. So compassion in action.
I was talking grace. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want to talk about grace?
Sorry,
Okay.
I was looking at compassion, but I want to talk grace. Is that a lot of times parents and children have rough goings. First of all, I want to preface it by saying for myself, with my mother's situation, it was extremely toxic. It just wasn't.
It was a hard relationship.
It was a very hard relationship. Yeah. So I want to let you know that. But a lot of times, at the end of life, what I would suggest is that, yeah, we can find all the negative in a person. But one thing that I had to learn to do in my journey, even with my mom, and it's what kept me grounded to a lot of degree, is there's always positive within the darkness that's happening.
That's really good.
And so you want to, at this point in time, your feelings are your feelings. You have a right to your feelings, and nobody should ever take those feelings away from you. But this is where you want to show some grace. For a day, if all you're going to do is go see him one day, right, you need to come see mom. You need to come see dad. They're probably not going to live until tomorrow. Excuse me. Just walk in there with some grace, right? And really search your mind
and your
heart for the positive that happened in your life. Yeah. I don't care if it's one situation. Go in there with that on your mind. Okay? Just have that grace and the and compassion for that last minute, the last time you might ever see your mother or your father alive. Don't walk away with regrets. I will say, for myself, I had no regrets with my mother. I mean, and there's a lot more in this that I'm not going to go into. Yeah. But I did have no regrets with my mother, and there's reasons for that.
Yeah. So compassion in action, I think, is what we're leading into. Right. So we've got to remember that compassion, it's not just a feeling; it's patience. It's patience when Dad asks the same question 3 times.
3 times.
Or he shares the same story over and over and over, and that was the beginning. It's a gentleness when Mom refuses to eat, and we have to have compassion.
Or it's gentleness when you have a mom or dad that are smoking, which is very detrimental to their last days, and they don't want to. No, I'm going to smoke. I'm going to die anyways. So it's again having compassion and gentleness through those moments.
Yeah, right? That's really good. So I found this quote when I was doing this. I thought, let me find a quote. And honestly, this quote totally hit my heart. I'm going to try to say this without crying because
You did it earlier.
I
so.
did it earlier, and the quote is, compassion for our parents in their aging years, it's not about duty. It's about love, remembering love. And that's an unknown quote. So I'm going to repeat it again because it's beautiful. It's compassion for our parents in their aging years. It's not about duty. It's about love, remembering love. And that just reminds me that in these stages of life where our parents are aging or they're failing or they have a diagnosis or they're not remembering, it's about love, remembering love. It's about me remembering the love my dad had for me. It's about me remembering the love my mom had for me. And honestly, that love is something that I replicate in my relationship with you. It's something that I replicate in my relationship with my kids as well as my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
So that just really resonated with me, and it was something that I wanted to hold on to.
And again, for the partner or spouse, right, of like Kathy, I'm her husband, is that my goal through all this was just patience, understanding, compassion, love, and grace towards her, right? Because, it was tough on Kathy. There's a lot of funny stories that happened when he broke out one night, remember?
Oh, yeah, we experienced that. He left the home.
He broke out of the home one night.
Went for a walk,
knocked on the neighbor's door. So,
well, actually, the neighbor found him laying in their front yard.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Again, so, now Kathy gets the phone call, right? And so it's like, oh, okay, babe, whatever we got to do, we're going to go take care of it. And all I can do is be there for her. And even when she gets a little pissy, your partner might get a little pissy, just let it go.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's the emotions.
Exactly. It's emotions, and it really has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, that's
all right. So what are some practical ways we can move forward? This, again, Kathy and I's favorite subject, all of our clients, is communication. So you want to be able to communicate openly. It involves parents and decisions as much as possible. Right. I think somewhere along here you're going to talk about the car. Ask their preferences instead of making assumptions. On assumption, don't ever make assumptions about anything.
Yeah.
Ask preferences, right?
Yeah, ask questions.
Don't be accusing people because it's an assumption that you think they feel this way or they're doing this. Okay, so make sure you communicate openly, ask questions, right? Get curious when you're listening to them. Get curious when you're talking to them, and curious questions. Okay, share the load, right? Don't try to carry everything alone. Reach out to siblings, extended family, church, community, or extended family, church, community, or professional help. All those things are going to help you as a caregiver through this difficult process. You cannot do it alone. Don't be a Superman. And don't be a superwoman like Kathy used to call herself. You're not.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really key is, reaching out, not always just to get their opinion on something, but just to be able to talk about how you're feeling.
Yes.
I think that's the thing, is sometimes sharing the load about the situation. Absolutely, we have to do that. But sometimes we just need to vent and get things out. And I know that was helpful for me to have you. It was helpful for me to talk with the people I worked with, sharing these experiences with. And I'm that person right now for my Betsy, because she is also, it's a load to carry. And so just being able to talk about it and vent it out takes the power out of the feelings and emotions that somebody's carrying.
If all else, seriously, grief groups, right? Find a good end of life grief group for the caregivers.
Yeah, no,
and join one of those. Yeah. And you've got to talk about how you feel. You've got to talk about your fears.
You're not alone, definitely.
You're not alone. I mean, think about this. People die all day, every day.
People are diagnosed with dementia. People are diagnosed with failing health. That's going to happen, so.
The other thing that's really important too is to make sure that you honor their dignity.
That's good, yeah.
Okay? Don't take their dignity away from them. Small things matter. Asking permission, respecting routines, letting them have choices.
Mm-hmm.
There might come a time where they can't make a good choice,
Right.
and you're going to have to make that choice for them. But until such as a day comes like that,
Yeah.
don't take their dignity away from them.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's where I want to kind of share a little bit about the car. So it was tough. I really didn't know what this was going to look like, but I can remember when my dad was diagnosed, properly diagnosed with the doctor. The doctor had a fiduciary responsibility to report it to the state.
Yep.
And in reporting it to the state, his driver's license was no longer valid. So it started out with Dad had his fancy Camaro. And, he would still want to drive. He'd drive up to the barbershop, or maybe he'd drive over to the bank. And I can remember telling him, Dad, you can't drive anymore. And his response to me was, why not? I've got a driver's license. It's in my billfold. Billfold, you could tell how old he was. And I would say, Dad, I understand that you have that driver's license and it might be in your billfold, but it's not valid. And he didn't understand that.
Yeah.
So eventually we had to remove the car from him.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother took the car away. I shouldn't say my brother took the car away. My brother took the car from the premises and they used the car for that time.
Right.
And then he was left with his golf cart.
Yeah.
So we had to make a decision.
Thank God he didn't try to drive to Long Beach his golf cart.
No, that would have been scary. But we made the decision that, okay, the golf cart isn't going to go far. It's not going to go fast. He could still get to the grocery store. He could still get to the barbershop. He could still get to the bank. So we did keep the golf cart for a extended period of time until eventually we gave it to your aunt. But yeah, so, we have to honor their dignity, but there is, like you said, there's going to come time where we have to make hard decisions to protect their safety.
And I want to say this with a lot of love and respect. Sometimes we have to deceive them.
Yeah.
Sometimes that comes with a power of attorney.
Yeah.
Right. I think, there was a situation where Kathy and her sister and brother had to do that. And it's not no disrespect to the parent or nothing.
It's
just,
for their safety.
It's for their safety. Yeah. Again, you want to work closely with a doctor that's going to help you through this. You don't kind of make these decisions on yourself.
No, not at all.
So then the next one is care for yourself also.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't pour out from an empty cup.
Yeah.
You're going to get empty at some point in time. So counseling, support groups, again, exercise, prayer, and rest really matter, right?
This is where you want to surround yourself with a good group of people that are going to support you and lift you up in those moments, give you words of encouragement.
And some of those words of encouragement might be hard truths.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
That, sometimes we just got to tell our friends, our wives, sit your butt down. I don't want you doing nothing today. We have friends. It will be taken care of. You don't have to do this by yourself. We have this community of people. We're here to support you. We told you we're going to support you, and we're going to support you however that looks like. So you're going to sit down, and we're going to lock you in the house if we have to do that. Whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do that because it's overwhelming for a sibling, a child. They're losing a parent.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just got to talk with a very strong, loving truth.
Yeah, no, that's good.
That's what love really is, as a matter of
true.
fact.
It's about speaking your truth. Your truth.
Not loving is let them do things that are going to be detrimental to their health.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Okay?
Yeah.
So prepare together.
Yeah.
Talk about long-term care, legal documents, and wishes before the crisis hits. These conversations may feel uncomfortable, but prevent conflict later. And they will be uncomfortable.
They will be uncomfortable. Right. One thing that I am grateful for is that my mom and dad were always very open about what they had, although we didn't know the specifics of what they had. But there were a few things that I started lining up because my mom and dad did have a trust, or my dad had a trust, I should say. After my mom died, my dad created a trust. So I started looking at some of his investments and things, and I did find that there were certain things that weren't in the trust. They were still in his personal name. And so I had that hard conversation with him. And fortunately, my dad was very trustworthy of me. So I was able to get those couple of accounts set up properly so that there wasn't a problem later. But the key is to do it before the crisis hit.
Right.
So we did this
Right.
early on. It wasn't too long after we moved him in, when we realized he couldn't live alone, that we made sure that his financial, not only the responsibilities, but all of his investments were properly set up so that we didn't have to create struggle down the road.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really
Right.
important.
So that way everything's laid out,
Mhm.
right? It's all spelled out. There can be no fuss, muss, or anything like that.
Yep.
This is the way it is. And you just got to make sure you have a good executor
Or
or
trustee of your trust, whatever
trustee
that looks like.
of your trust
Yeah.
to make sure that it gets handled quickly and properly.
And I will say, from my experiences of working in escrow for 42 years, I have seen where there have not, and I'm not a financial person, I am not a legal person, but I have seen where families have not properly set themselves
Mhm.
up. And I'm going to encourage you, if you personally do not have life estate planning established, do it for yourself now. If your parents don't have it, get in touch with an attorney that can give you guidance, because that is one of the things that will cause stress.
Yeah.
It will cause conflict, and it could potentially cause sibling conflict. So if you are still kicking and healthy and everything, get your financial things in order. Talk to an attorney.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I
Absolutely.
just felt like I had to say that.
It's you have to. One of our clients, I had this discussion with him yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
in detail. So,
Yeah, making
yes,
sure.
yeah.
So I know I've shared a little bit of personal things that have happened, but I just want to share one more thing about this before we close this out. So I can remember when my dad started forgetting things and I had to step in more. And I realized quickly that it wasn't just about caring for his needs, but also tending to my own heart in the process. And I can remember, I can visualize this, and I'm not very good at remembering a lot of things, but this really stands out to me is we were sitting around his patio table at his house in Palm Desert, and he shared the story over and over again. And I realized, okay, we have a situation on our hands. But then the key came when I was at work and I got a call from the sheriff's department. And they asked me if Jerry was my dad. And I said, well, yes, he is. He says, okay, well, I'm here with him now. It appears that he is thinking that somebody took some checks of his. And I'm a little concerned. His house looks in order. The bed's made, the laundry is done, the house is clean, so everything looks to be good. But I am a little concerned about his memory, because the checks that he claims he never got, that he thought were stolen, were actually cashed. We have video of him at the bank making the deposits. We have copies of the checks that show he endorsed them. And I was like, okay, this is where things are shifting for us. And so I kind of giggled and laughed, but I had to reassure the sheriff, thank you for calling. Yes, we have noticed these things. I think this is time for us to take action.
Right.
So that was kind of our beginning, but where it really went downhill was my dad was always an early riser.
Yeah.
And, 4 o'clock in the morning, he'd go out and get the paper, come back in the house, grab his cup of coffee, and sit down. And he was the old paper guy, where he read his paper. He had a cleaning gal that came to the house regularly for him, and she lived in the community. And she drove by, and I think it was around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening, and she noticed his newspaper was still in the driveway. So that caught her eye. So she came into the house, and she found my dad laying between his bedroom and the doorway to the bathroom. And she says, Jerry, what are you doing? And his answer was, I'm sleeping. Apparently, I don't think he fell down because there was no blood. He wasn't cut, and my dad would have been a bleeder if he had gotten cut, but he had fallen down or laid down and fell asleep. And come to find out, he had a urinary tract infection. And so that put him into the hospital, which then led him to, what do they call those care facilities? Like a nursing home for a little bit of time. And from there, we were able to put him into his care home where he lived out the rest of his life. So that was like a 5-year process from the time the stories began repeating themselves to the house cleaning lady finding him on the floor to getting him into the hospital and then into his care facility.
Right.
We had a very good experience with his care facility. It was a private home.
Very good. Yes.
Not too far from our neighborhood. My brother and I were able to dash over if we needed to quickly. And I think that was key too for the long-term care that he had. It was good, healthy care.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were grateful for that. It cost us a little money, but we were able to move finances and make things work for his extended care for those last 5 years of his life.
So, I don't have a whole lot more than I could add to any of this. Besides what I've said. Just know that the best thing you can do for your spouse or partner in this kind of a crisis, right, is just be there for them, right? Like I say, treat them with grace, with compassion, lots of love, lots of understanding, lots of caring. Sometimes, we're talking about the caregiver taking care of themselves. We also, as the support to the caregiver, we need to make sure we take care of ourselves also, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be like it was 5 years that Kathy went through this, right? And so it can drag out for quite some time. And there's a lot of unknown during this whole period, right? There a lot of questions come up. So you got to make sure that not only are you there for your spouse, right? But as a supporter, you need to take care of yourself, and you need to have some support around yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be as extensive as what your spouse or partner are going to need, but you're going to need support. You're going to need somebody to just sit there and chew the fat with, and just, say, man, I'm just tired. If you want to whine and complain, do that. Whatever you got to do.
Always need somebody.
And I say whine and complain. I don't mean, I mean that for, I don't mean it in a harsh way. I mean, you got to get stuff off your chest, get it off your chest.
That's good.
Right? And find somebody, right, that's willing to, and even the caregiver. This is critical, very critical. Find somebody that will sit there and listen to you without interrupting you and without trying to fix you.
Yeah.
That is so critical.
Yeah.
Because all you need is you just need to be heard.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, just getting it out and having somebody say, man,
gives you space to breathe again.
Yeah. I don't know what I can do. Just know that I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And I can understand why you're struggling. That's all we need sometimes. Just a little affirmation.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I've ever told you thank you.
You're welcome.
For supporting me and loving me the way you did through a very hard time.
You tell me in a lot of different ways.
Thank you. Okay, didn't realize this would be so heavy. So, in closing, I want to leave you with an encouraging word. So, if you're in this season, remember, you're not alone. The shifting of roles is not a sign of a weakness. Actually, for me, it was strength, because I thought, I get to do this. But it's actually a sacred invitation for you to love in new ways. Yes. And I did learn to love in new ways for sure. Grace and compassion can transform even the hardest caregiving moments into spaces of honor and connection. And I feel like I've always been a very graceful and compassionate person, but I do think that having to go through the experience I did with my mom and dad strengthened the compassion and grace that I have for others as well as myself. I just have to say that.
I want to say one thing. When we got the call that Jerry had passed away, we went over to the house. And we walk into the bedroom where he was. He's still laying there peacefully.
I think I know where you're going with this.
And we pulled the covers down for some reason. And he had, what t-shirt did he have on? His Hawaii t-shirt.
His Kona t-shirt.
His Kona t-shirt. They love Kona, Hawaii.
They've been going to their timeshare for 30 plus years.
And all Kathy could do at that time was laugh.
Yep.
Right? So even in a deep moment of despair, you can find a moment to laugh.
Well,
and it was no disrespect.
No, my thought was his dad went out the way he wanted to go out. Yeah. And I will tell you something that I'm not even sure if you know.
What?
I have that t-shirt
Oh, I didn't know
sitting
that.
in my drawer.
And he probably went out sitting on the beach with Mom and Kona.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right? You
I
know
know.
what I mean?
So, yeah, I have that T-shirt in my drawer. Haven't got rid of it. It's folded. It's washed and folded.
I never knew that. Huh?
Yeah, it's still there. So I would like to make a call to action. You know, if this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to share it with a friend who might be walking through a similar road. You know, subscribe, leave a review. Let's just continue these conversations together. We would love your feedback. So whatever listening platform you're on, you know, send us make a comment. Let us know what you thought of it.
We really, really do these for you, the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of life experience, right? We're not monetizing any of this stuff. We're doing it out of the pureness, the love of our heart. Yeah, we need to be monetized so we can improve.
We would like to be monetized.
We'd like to be monetized so we can improve our studio, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
so to speak. Yeah.
But this is for you. So feedback is going to be critical for us.
Yeah.
Right? We need to. Here's how I look at it. No feedback means we must be doing everything perfect.
Right.
Okay?
But
let us know what you want.
Yeah, let us know. Let us hear from you. We would love to hear from you.
We have a plethora of life experience. And if it's something we don't know nothing about, then we have no right to talk about it.
No, but we do some research and see what we can do to bring it to you. So, you know, if talking about, you know, aging parents and the shift of life, if you're in that season of life, we want to invite you to email us at healandrestorecounseling@gmail.com. We have a worksheet we've created, and it offers engaging questions and journaling prompts that will help guide you through this season of life. If that's something you're interested in, please reach out to us at healandrestorecounseling@gmail.com, and we will shoot you an email of that worksheet. It's just a tool. It's a tool to help walk you through it.
No cost to you. No.
It's just a tool.
A gift from us to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, I just want to remind you that you're not alone. You know, Heal and Restore Counseling, we are here to walk alongside you. So if you're struggling, whether it might be in a marriage, a relationship, it might be with your kids, supporting aging parents that we've talked about today, or maybe just carrying the weight of life experiences, we are here to help. So we are going to invite you to schedule a 1-hour no-cost discovery session. And this is a safe place where we can listen to your needs and desires while also sharing a little bit about us and who we are and how we can support you. That's going to be key because we truly believe that in every journey of healing, it begins with the right fit. And,
Absolutely.
Finding that connection is going to be essential to your growth. So reach out to us. You can schedule that at our website at healandrestorecounseling.com. And we would love to hear from you and walk with you. We can set these up through Zoom. We can set these up in person if you're local to us. We have clients currently throughout the country, and we're grateful and honored that we can journey into health and wellness with these people.
So, thank you for joining us today on the Heal and Restore podcast. We're grateful that you joined us.
Yeah.
Until next time, may you walk in grace, extend compassion, and find peace in the shifting seasons of life.
Yeah, that's so good.
And we're stepping into a lot of those seasons.
Thank you for supporting me in my crazy idea. But
this was all Kathy today, and that's okay.
You did good. You added quite a bit to it.
I mean, I knew that that's how it would have to go. You know, I was fortunate enough to be able to walk through this with Kathy. I asked her to marry me again today.
He did.
See,
he gave me this beautiful
here's
ring.
My little ring.
Out of foil. It was beautiful.
It was.
I said yes.
She said yes. Again.
Yeah. So that's good.
Remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does.
Kathy does.
More importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Have a fabulous week.
Have a great week.